You sit down to make a track, but before you can even load a drum kit, you are buried under an avalanche of unmanaged data. Instead of creating, you are hunting for a single snare sample you downloaded weeks ago. Your default save locations are cluttered with unnamed iterations of old projects. And right when you finally catch a rhythm, your device throws up a fatal error. Your internal storage is completely full. The way to bypass these mobile hardware limits is to build a closed-loop file management system. This setup relies on three distinct components: a structured external library, direct in-app API mapping, and strict cross-device synchronization protocols. By actively managing where your audio lives and how your software accesses it, your tablet stops being a fragile trap for lost files. Instead, it becomes a reliable, frictionless instrument. Step 1 requires pulling your audio out of isolated application folders. You need to construct a unified master directory using your device's native operating system. Starting from a master sample library, you build nested hierarchies based on function, separating one-shots from loops, then drilling down into precise subcategories. Do not use closed ecosystem apps to host this directory. Certain third-party extensions place a padlock on your data, completely blocking apps from reading entire folders. To protect your device's internal memory, house this entire folder structure on external hardware. A standard micro SD card or a USB-C hub acts as the perfect physical anchor. Establishing an external, universally accessible taxonomy keeps your internal storage completely clear. It also ensures your entire library survives intact, even if a specific app crashes and requires a reinstall. Now we connect the software to your hardware. Treat your sampler's interface as a window looking out into your external drive, rather than a storage container. To access your custom browser, tap the microphone icon to open the main menu, select Import File, and navigate directly to your dedicated samples directory. Here, you use the Add Location function. This creates a direct, permanent bridge between the sampler and your external root folders. You may encounter an API barrier. Notice this disabled grayed-out cloud drive folder. This restriction occurs when you attempt to link third-party cloud drives, like Google Drive, which actively block bulk folder sharing. The immediate workaround is simple. If you must pull a sound from a restricted cloud service, tap the cloud icon to use the single file import function instead of attempting to link the entire folder. For your primary USB drive, the mapping is seamless. Once successfully linked, your entire nested hierarchy populates directly inside the app's browser, ready to use. By bypassing internal storage constraints and mapping external locations, your sample library can scale into the hundreds of gigabytes without ever freezing or bricking your device. With the directories mapped, the focus shifts to the grid. Managing data is now a tactile, physical process. To load sound, you simply browse your mapped external folder and drag an audio file directly onto any empty pad. If a sound doesn't fit the mix, you delete it by grabbing the pad and dragging it straight upwards. This instantly discards the unwanted data from the active workspace. To iterate on a sound, drag an occupied pad onto an empty space. This duplicates the data point, allowing you to pitch or chop the copy while keeping the original intact. When you drag new data onto an already occupied pad, a merging menu appears. You select Mix to play both sounds concurrently, or Add to End to append the new audio sequentially. Executing these rapid interface gestures removes the friction of navigating drop-down menus. Data management becomes an uninterrupted element of your live performance. The final step is project persistence. Keeping session data isolated on a single piece of hardware creates a massive vulnerability. There is a misconception that simply toggling your device's basic cloud backup settings will automatically synchronize active standalone projects across different devices. It does not work that way. If you operate in standalone mode, you have to resolve this manually. You must open the Share menu and use a peer-to-peer wireless transfer protocol to push the session data from your tablet directly to your phone. This diagram illustrates the ultimate automated solution, AUV3 plugin hosting. Instead of two isolated devices failing to share local files, the sampler runs inside a host application, routing its data directly through a constantly syncing cloud node. When you save the sampler's state within that host application, you bypass local standalone storage entirely. The project writes directly to a universally accessible cloud directory. Treating the sampler as an integrated plugin rather than an isolated app ensures your data is identical everywhere, completely eliminating version control errors and hardware dependency. We began with a fragmented, storage-heavy liability. Now you operate within a lightweight, unified, and highly responsive digital ecosystem. With your external library perfectly mapped and your physical gestures committed to muscle memory, you can build a multi-layered sequence exactly as fast as you can conceive it. Because your sessions are hosted and synced through the cloud, you work with complete psychological safety, knowing the active project is instantly available on any alternate hardware. Ultimately, a meticulously engineered file management infrastructure is the exact underlying mechanism that unlocks your total creative freedom.